Honorable members, prayers. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Grant that it may perform its high duty as give divine guidance to the President of the Republic, endow members of Parliament and ministers of state with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labors of government this land and people may be well and truly served, and thy good purposes in human life be realized in our midst. Amen. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair as a country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, a country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, a country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service, and honor shall be given to the deserving, a country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Honorable members, item number 4 on today's order paper. Collection of votes and proceedings and official report. We only have the votes and proceedings. So you go to the votes and proceedings. Page number 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page number 4. Page number 5. Page 6. Page number 7. Page number 8. Yes, Honorable Member for Southton. Northton, sorry.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The Speaker, at page number 8, item number 8, the last but one line, operators of radio, we need to insert gold, radio gold 90.5 FM. So gold should be inserted respectfully. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Table, please take note. Page number 9. Yes, Honorable Member.
Mr. Speaker, please, page number 9, item number C, the last paragraph, by the Honorable Majority Leader, Ms. Oseche Mensah Bonsu, on behalf of the, kindly insert, of the Honorable First Deputy Speaker.
Yes, table. Omission of off. Take note. Honorable members, page number 10. Page 11. Honorable, are you on your feet?
Yes, please, Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, the title of the Right Honorable Speaker.
Which page, please?
Page 11.
Okay.
Speaker is incomplete without an R. Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagby. Speaker, the R is omitted.
Thank you. Honorable Table, please take note of it.
And Mr. Speaker, if it pleases you, I noticed that the matter relating to the report of the Appointments Committee, question proposed, debate arising, question put, a motion agreed. There was a walkout by the minority, and I thought that for the record, that should reflect accordingly. But when you go through this, it's as if everything is fine and all went well, and there was a debate on all sides. Mr. Speaker, I believe that
Honorable Member, I think that one will be captured in the Hansard, not necessary.
Okay, I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member, page number 12. Page number 13. Page number 14. Yes, Honorable Member for Northton.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, at page 14, item number 2, I'm sure if my honorable colleague and good friend was here, she will have drawn attention. Ms. Mavis in Council Bwedu, but as has been captured here, it appears to be Mavia instead of Mavis. Item number 2, And Mr. Speaker, I noticed that there is quite a departure from our practice. If you look at page 40 and page 13, those who attended upon the Finance Committee, normally we are told their institution and the positions they hold. But we just have Ministry of Finance, then the names are listed, National Sports Authority, the names are listed, without the various positions they hold. So if we can be consistent with our practice.
Thank you. Honorable Table, please take note of them. Finally, page number 15. Yes, Honorable Member for Bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to, Mr. Speaker, send you back to page 14. The Business Committee, item 1. The committee met on Thursday, 23rd June. 23rd June is Wednesday, so it couldn't have been Thursday, so if you can be corrected to read Wednesday, 23rd June. Thank you.
Yes, look at the date well. Honorable members, in the absence of any corrections, the votes and proceedings of the 16th sitting of the second meeting of the first session held yesterday, Wednesday, 23rd June 2021, was adopted as a true correction of proceedings. Honorable members, we will jump to item number 6 on today's order paper, question time, and we have an urgent question, and the question stands the name of a member for Adaku, Honorable Kwame Governs Abuja, to the Minister for Defense. So, Defense, please take the seat. Yes, Honorable Member, you may ask your question.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to ask the Minister for Defense what steps the ministry is taking to ensure equity in the recruitment of personnel into the Ghana Armed Forces under his ministry?
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, to ensure equity in the recruitment of personnel into the Ghana Armed Forces, the Ministry of Defense, through the Ghana Armed Forces personnel, has set some general standards that the prospective applicants will have to meet before they are qualified to be recruited. In addition to the general requirements, the Armed Forces ensures that there is regional balance, which is nearly as possible equal to the regional population quota of the immediate past population and housing census, as well as a minimum of 15% for women recruitment. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Member, any supplementary question?
Right, Honorable Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy the Minister said the recruitment takes care of the regional balance. Mr. Speaker, we have 275 constituencies in the country. It is possible, if regional balance, you might have a situation because some regions do have more than one section in terms of composition of the demography. I was looking at a situation where your answer will talk further beyond the regions, so that, for instance, in every constituency, you can say that there could be, when you're doing recruitment over a period, there could be at least somebody from that constituency represented. Mr. Speaker, security of the realm is not only in the region. So the answer I was expecting.
So, Honorable Member, what is the question?
The question is, how does this equity address the issue beyond the regions that you talked about?
Yes, Honorable Leader.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I know my colleague is a very experienced legislator and he masters the rules. I beg to state clearly that the question is not a supplementary question.
Sir, if you can answer the question for us, do that for us.
Mr. Speaker, Article 35(6)(b) of the Constitution talks about recruitment into the public service, and they talk about regional balance and gender balance. As much as possible, you should recruitment to the public service should be aimed at regional and gender balance. But the armed forces technically is not public service, but they try to ensure that they look at the spirit of the country, using that as a guide. They have not stretched themselves to constitute. For now, their rules and regulations that they have made for themselves and their practices and conventions have been regional balance and moving from the original 10% that is, which is in the regulation for women, to 15% under the current dispensation. Under the current government, they have moved to 15%. So it's essentially regional balance, not constituency level. But I take your suggestion. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Member.
Yeah, right, Honorable Speaker. I thank the Minister. The Minister himself, being a senior member of this House, would have heard where members of the public in our constituencies, including members in this House, suggesting that they have gotten protocol arrangements to recruit personnel into the Ghana Armed Forces. Mr. Speaker, can the Minister tell us or tell the country whether there's that arrangement where members of Parliament or selected members of Parliament are given protocol opportunities to recruit into the army? Mr. Speaker, the answer would help address a problem we all have. I can see some people are feeling uncomfortable.
Honorable, you've asked the question, so
Mr.
allow
Speaker, yes. So I think the Minister understands the
Honorable
question.
Minister.
Can the deputy leader stop harassing me? Let me ask my question.
Honorable Member, please. let's get focused. Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I've had cause to answer this question in my vetting before, and I said that there's no protocol vetting, there's no protocol allocation for the armed forces. I've said that before, and let me repeat again, that the processes that armed forces go through, it does not lend itself to protocol allocation. So I can confirm that the members of parliament are not given protocol allocations. Tell your constituents that members of parliament are not given protocol allocations. They've never been given and they will not be given protocol allocations. Thank you very much.
Honorable Member, your last supplementary question.
Mr. Speaker, I thank the Minister for the answer. Mr. Speaker, I just want to reiterate my first supplementary question. Would he consider in the future where the recruitment takes care beyond the regional balance, because there may be some regions that have got more demographic, differences than just the regional balance? Would you consider in the future that will be, since you have even done for women, moving from 10% to 13%, will you consider a situation where when recruitment is done, every member of parliament could say that at least I know somebody recruited from this constituency that is in the army? It is for our own sake and for the security of the country. It will be helpful.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I've already told the member that his suggestion will be looked at. I've already said that before. So we'll look at that suggestion and get back to them. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Member. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want to ask the Minister how the military ensure equity in the recruitment that had taken place past, not the very one that was recently advertised. How did they ensure equity in those recruitments? How did that happen? How did you ensure you actually went by the equity that you have just told us about?
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, as I said before, the only change in the past has been increasing the number of women from the 10% to 15%. All other processes remain the same, and they are guided by regional balance and the 15% for women minimum. That's what it is, and that's what the military has been using all these years. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Member for Northton.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Minister responsible for Defense has indicated that regional balance is a key priority of the Ghana Armed Forces. My question is, how do we ensure regional balance? We are also achieving ethnic balance, because now you have cosmopolitan regions. So if you are just looking at where people are applying from, it is very possible that in a particular region, say in the Volta region, people who are applying from Ho are not necessarily hailing from the Volta region. So ethnic balance is also, we are enjoined by the Constitution to work ethnic balance. So within regional balance, how are we ensuring that there is equity so far as ethnicity is concerned?
Yes, Honorable Minister.
The provisions, thank you, Mr. Speaker, armed forces do not ask you your tribe for good reasons. But his suggestion is something that we will look at. It's a good suggestion to ensure that we don't have a problem of packing just one tribe. That is a suggestion we'll look at seriously. But for now, we're dealing with the regional, but we'll look at it seriously. And thank you very much.
Finally, I give the last slot to, are you yielding it to you? Okay, then that's the last question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask from the minister when he said the Constitution recognizes recruitment according to regional balance. Taking from the spirit of that constitutional provision, will the minister consider decentralizing recruitment into the armed forces on regional basis so that recruitment will be done in all the 16 regions, where then we can talk of proper equity? Will he consider doing that?
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, recruitment is done by the personnel administration of the armed forces at the general headquarters in Bema Camp. The suggestion you have made is to consider recruiting from all the regions. They normally select centers and they send people to do the recruiting, and people report at these centers and then they get recruited. Your suggestion, I'll send it to the personnel administrative general headquarters to see whether it will be feasible so that they can review their rules to accommodate what you are saying. But for now, they select certain regions and certain areas, and everybody will go to what we call a center. So they can select Greater Accra, Tamale, Wa, and then they go to those particular centers. But you want them to have centers across all the 16 regions so that they can select. I will send that a brilliant suggestion to them to consider. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Honorable Leader, you had only one chance, please. It is a supplementary question. Yeah. I wouldn't allow any further supplementary.
Mr. Speaker, with due respect, as leadership,
Leader, no.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Then I should ask the last question.
Leader, you've exhausted your time.
Okay.
Please.
So, Mr. Speaker, I want to...
Leader, you've exhausted your time. Yes, honorable members, we thank the minister for attending upon the House to answer an urgent question. Minister, we are grateful to you. Thank you. We are discharged. Yes, leadership. Any indication?
Mr. Speaker.
Okay. Before I come to you, leader, hold on a bit. Honorable members, we have in our midst a distinguished delegation from the steering group of the African Parliamentarians Association for Human Rights are here in the country to hold a consultative meeting with the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs, ASIPA. The members are Honorable Simon Elisha Kalu, Member, National Assembly of Nigeria. Honorable Siso Christopher Inwabi, former Member of Parliament of South Africa. The delegation is also accompanied to this House by 2 stars from ASIPA, Dr. Gifty Adika, Senior Governance Advisor, and finally, Mr. Ibrahim Maida Inusa, Senior Program Officer. Honorable members, on your behalf and on my own behalf, I wish them fruitful interactions in a present stay in the country. Okay. Honorable members, the House will be suspended.
Mr. Speaker, business statement, if it will please you.
Okay, let me hear you.
Mr. Speaker, the chair of your committee is unavoidably absent. But if you be pleased, I have his mandate to proceed as his able vice chair.
We will obviously also take the business statement, but I wish we suspend to do okay, very well. Yes. What is it? Honourable members, let's shift to page 2, item 5, business statement for the 6th order. Let me invite the deputy majority leader to let the House know what is ahead of us next week.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the space to present the business statement. Mr. Speaker, your committee met yesterday, Wednesday, 23rd day of June 2021, and arranged the business house for the 6th week ending Friday, the 2nd of July 2021. Mr. Speaker, attached to this report is a 7-page document which outlines what we have proposed for the ensuing week. The Speaker may read formal communication as may be available to the House. And the Speaker, we've programmed 35 questions in all, 4 urgent questions and 31 regular questions. We, Mr. Speaker, have recommended to the House to begin sitting on each day at 10 a.m. to enable us have enough time to do things as programmed. The Speaker may take up statements in accord with Order 72 and 72 of our rules. And Mr. Speaker may also allow bills to be presented for first reading in accordance with Order 120. Of course, those of heading through the various stages in one day in accordance with Order 119. And pursuant to Order 75, Mr. Speaker, papers may be presented and placed on the order paper for laying, and committees may also have the opportunity to present their report to the House for consideration if same have been completed. The Speaker may also admit motions for debate and consequential resolutions, if any, taken during the week. The Speaker, on the strength of these, in accordance with Article Order 162 and Order 53, I hereby submit to this House for consideration the proposed program for the ensuing week. I thank you so much.
Yes, honourable members, the program for the ensuing week has been presented to us. It is for the consideration of the House. Yes, honourable member for Northton.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me draw attention to the question numbered 135 at page 5. And the Honourable Deputy Majority Leader is not paying attention. Page 5. Question 134. I believe we would have to do some cleaning up of arts and culture, whether the ministry has gathered data on the number of job losses and business collapses. I think it should be collapsed businesses. or businesses that have been shut down associated with the continuous closure of cinemas and theaters. So I'm not too sure this is how the question was captured. I know Mr. Jatro is quite diligent when it comes to these construction of questions. But Mr. Speaker, my substantive concern is grounded in Order 60, Order 64, 2 and 3, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Order 64.2 provides notice of intention to ask a question shall be given by delivery of the question in writing at the office of the clerk, table office, on a day not later than 10 sitting days, exclusive of any Saturday and Sunday or public holiday, before the day on which the sitting commences, at which it is proposed to ask the question. 3 provides, the clerk shall ensure that the notice delivered to him under paragraph 2 of this order is communicated to the person required to answer it not later than 7 sitting days, exclusive of any Saturday and Sunday or public holiday, from the date of delivery. Mr. Speaker, our standing orders are very clear and provide strict timelines for urgent questions. To the Honourable Minister responsible for Finance on the cost of the President's recent travels to France, Belgium and South Africa was admitted by Mr. Speaker on the 1st of June. The question was filed at the same time the one related to the Ministry of Defence on the state of the presidential jet was filed, admitted at the same time. The Minister for Defence has been here last week to provide answers. The Minister of Finance requested more time. It was not programmed for this week. Now the business statement for the whole of next week has been provided, and the Minister for Finance still does not feature. Our standing orders are very clear. Urgent questions. You cannot go beyond 10 working days. And we shouldn't create the impression in this country that they are probably super ministers who can decide on what terms they work with Parliament, when our standing orders are very clear. So, Mr. Speaker, your intervention in this matter is key. The Business Committee cannot appear to be assisting the Finance Minister to evade accountability. And this House will not countenance that, Mr. Speaker. In the spirit of transparency and accountability, the Minister for Finance must be subject to our standing orders, not above the standing orders of Parliament. So I want to hear from the Honourable Deputy Majority Leader why the Business Committee appears to be condoning a clear breach of our standing orders and giving the Finance Minister latitudes and laxities that he does not have and cannot have. He is not above other ministers. So our standing orders ought to be respected, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Member for
Dafiema will say, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Looking at the business statement, I want to say that as a country, we are faced with the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. But more importantly, we as a country, we are faced with a threat, a potential threat of a third wave, especially with the detection of the Delta variant, in our country some few days ago. Mr. Speaker, I think there's an urgent need for the Minister for Health to appear before Parliament to brief us and tell us the measures that the ministry is putting in place or has taken to ensure that as a country we can prevent and manage a wave of COVID-19. And indeed, I filed an urgent question, but I don't see it here. But I think there's an urgent need for the minister to brief us as a House. Thank you very much.
Yes. Honorable Member for Sora.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, last week when the business statement was presented, the Honorable Dafamako suggested to the leader of the House that members who file statements sometimes are put in a fix. And so that if the leader could indicate for members to know whether their statements have been admitted and whether they have the opportunity to make those statements so that they would be in the chamber with copies of their statements. But I still have not found anything like that in this week's business statement. Mr. Speaker, I think it's a very good suggestion. That would update members, and members will be prepared and be available to make their statements and would facilitate work in the chamber. Mr. Speaker, I think the leader of the House should consider this suggestion as very important and in fact take it on board. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I believe the majority chief whip, you are taking note on behalf of the leader. Okay, good. Yes, honorable member for your constituency.
Manya Krobo.
Come again?
Upper Manya Krobo.
Upper Manya Krobo. Okay, take the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I filed a jet question that appeared in the business statement for this week. And according to the statement, that was today. However, the other paper has not captured it. I was expecting it to see it in the other business statement for the 6th week. Speaker, that hasn't appeared as well. And I want to draw attention to the leader of the majority group or the business committee and to ask why it is so, Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable member for, is it Krobo?
Yes, Upper
Manya Krobo. The question was not clear. If you can repeat it.
Yeah, Speaker, I filed an urgent question. That question, according to the business statement for this, is supposed to be read today. But that question has not appeared in the other paper for today.
Honorable member, the question was directed to which ministry?
The Ministry for Interior.
Interior?
Yes, Mr.
Okay.
Speaker.
So, honorable majority, deputy majority leader, take note of that. Yes, honorable member for Adaku.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Thank you. I also filed a question to the minister responsible for agriculture to apprise the House of the outcome of the 5-year-old audit into the Cocoa Road contracts. In fact, we are in the 5th year since he ordered the audit. Mr. Speaker, that question has also vanished from the radar of the business committee. May I know from the deputy leader whether that question would be scheduled as soon as possible so that Ghanaians will know the outcome of the audit into the 5-year-old audit on the Cocoa Road awarded under the NDC.
Leader, let's allow the deputy majority leader to answer those questions before we come back.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, first, on the concerns by my good friend Ablakwa on the text of the question numbered 134 by member from Okankwe North. He is concerned about how the question is structured. That is not the business committee's responsibility. It is the responsibility of the honorable member. And once Mr. Speaker has admitted it, in its form, shape, and substance, it appears as it is. However, considering the fact that she is a first-timer, I believe that you may warm yourself up to some of the first-timers. You are very experienced, so that you nurture them on the proper way to ask, their questions. The table office has always been helpful. Mr. Jetro and his colleagues can also help. That notwithstanding, you have your leadership. You have to work through them so that they use experience to advise on how to formulate questions. So for the record, this is not the table office. Neither is it the business committee that has made a mistake. So that's for the records. On the issue of your question, the urgent question, I believe that it was at the instance of Mr. Speaker. But be assured that contact Mr. Speaker so that same is rescheduled. For it's not about the minister avoiding your question. No, it was stood down at the instance of Mr. Speaker. So it will be addressed. Mr. Speaker, member for Upper Menya Krobo raised issue with an urgent question. Honourable member, I think issue of admissibility is squarely in the hands of Mr. Speaker. But I'm told that the Minister of Interior has asked for permission and same was granted. So be assured, we'll protect your interests. Your question will be tabled for same to be answered. It is your right, far right. And then statement on notice. Yeah, Mr. Speaker, this is a shared concern. Sometimes we are unable to make meaningful contribution to statement because we don't get copies. Is a point that I welcome. So what we should do is that we should always be following up at the table office, whether or not Mr. Speaker has admitted a statement. And sometimes if we want members to read through and make meaningful input, you can share it. You can use the pigeonholes. Once you do the statement and you submit, you can share it so that at all times members would have it. I think when we came in, we were encouraged to do that. Sometimes the statement will not even be shared at all, and you can't make meaningful contributions. So that concern, I think, is well noted, and steps must be taken to address it. Yes, Kwame Abuja on the. I would find it. I'll find it. Mr. Speaker, I believe I've exhausted the issues that came up, unless there are further matters. Yes, my colleague talked about the Minister of Health. You have various tools at your disposal. File a question. Yes, you are talking about briefing. We have our committees, health committee. I don't know whether you're a member of the health committee, but I believe strongly that the very issues that you want the minister to address us on, if you file questions on that, you would even get the best answers, and that can be compelling. That pleasure of Mr. Minister to come here. All right. If you see the number of questions that have been admitted, squarely falls in line with what you are seeking for. So file a question. That is my strong advice. Thank you.
Yes, honourable members, I believe the issue raised by honourable member for Sola with respect to the statement like Deputy Speaker said, it's a shared concern for all of us. I believe you raised the issue with Mr. Speaker so that any statement that has been admitted, the maker of the statement will know ahead of time so that copies will be made available to members. So please, it's a shared concern. We will address that issue with Mr. Speaker. Again, the deputy leader has also shared issue with respect to some of the ministers. In fact, I have two letters from the Minister for Interior asking for some time to come his question. So, Honorable Upper Manyo, there's a letter to that effect. So, obviously, the Minister will come and answer your question. And the same applies to Honorable Abuja. The Minister for Agric and Food and Agriculture has also come with a letter that please, let's schedule with, reschedule the time. He will surely come and answer that question. So it's not just a matter that they are taking Parliament for granted. They will obviously come and do justice to our questions. Okay. Honorable Deputy Minority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, to ask my question, I also want to add in connection with what you just said. As leaders, when ministers bring excuse letters to the Right Honorable Speaker or to the Speaker, as leaders, when our members ask questions, I believe it is only good and fair that we will be told to inform them. Because the question the Honorable Member just raised, the distinguished member from Upper Manyakro, is in the interest of his constituent. In fact, he drew my attention before. And it was in connection with his police station, which has been closed down. And he asked an urgent question in connection with that, which was supposed to be asked today. So, as to whether it will be moved to Monday or Tuesday or not, we should have been told so that we inform him that he doesn't bring those matters on the floor. I believe the absence of that necessitated the re-asking of the questions on the floor. The Speaker, coming back to my own. The Speaker, this House created some ministries and some funds by law, by some acts, which some of these ministries. But Mr. Speaker, I want to know from the Deputy Majority Leader and the Acting Chair or Acting Leader of Government Business, when is the government bringing amendments in connection with those acts to the House so that we do the needful? A case in point is the Zongo Development Fund. Another one is the Special Development Ministry. The Speaker, in those acts, there were certain responsibilities given to ministers in representing the boards and all those things in the acts that were enacted in this House. As we speak, the Special Development Ministry is not under any ministry now, it's now under the office of the President. The Zongo Development, there's a coordinator, it's not under any ministry. And I believe this House owes Ghanaians a responsibility by making amendments in those. So when are we going to be given that opportunity so that we make the needed amendment? Because if you take office of the President, if a member wants to ask a question on the Special Development Ministry, where do we direct or who do we direct the question to? On the Zongo Development Fund, it's a big fund which was under a minister. But a coordinator has been appointed, meaning the role that a minister will play in the board, there will be nobody playing that role. So, Speaker, these are critical issues in playing our watchdog role that we need to address. So, Honorable Acting Leader of the House and Head of Government, Acting Leader of Government Business, when be given that opportunity so that we do the needful in order to help the President protect the public purse.
Yes. Honourable Member for Bill.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. My issue is not directly related to the next week's business, but it affects the business of the House. So I want leader to take note of it. It was raised last, but now we haven't received.
Honourable Member, it's not related to
It is related.
what we are discussing. Then please, let's assign another time for it.
Mr. Speaker, it's not directly, but it's related. It's related. There's some relation. It's to do with, it's closely, Mr. Speaker, the issue of the COVID situation and how this House arranges its activities and how it receives visitors into the House. Now, there is an indication of another strain that have entered the country, but we still are now allowing visitors to be unaccompanied. You will be in your office and somebody will just open the door. Oh, I am bringing this facility. Are you prepared to listen to me? It means that people you are not expecting or that you have not granted right to come into your office are being given the access to come into your office. And I think that the leadership should seriously look at this situation. Some of the floors do not have people sitting at the reception. Some do, some don't. And so people are getting too much access. They just open and enter. Should we wait, Mr. Speaker, for someone who is not supposed to enter to cause harm to a member of parliament before measures in place to stop that? Should we wait? So I think that they should take this up. If possible, even introduce a swipe card systems to enter to our floors. So it's a matter of concern to me that I believe that this House must not wait for an incident to happen before we will take it up. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want to add to what our honourable colleague just talked about from Buim. Mr. Speaker, 2 days ago I was in my office and, Mr. Speaker, I received an unknown visitor who claimed he was coming to see me to buy him an instrument for church service. Mr. Speaker, I got frightened and because I never had any call from even the front desk that the person was coming to see me, Mr. Speaker. He could have harmed me. I thought it was a joke, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday, I got the lady who walked to my office unannounced that she was coming to see me and that she had met me in His Excellency Dramani Mahama's office.
Honourable Member. Honourable Member.
Mr. Speaker.
We are dealing with issues relating to the business statement. If your issue is different, you can come out with a statement so that the entire House will be apprised of it and debate. Please, let's have appropriate time for appropriate things.
Thank you very much.
So, Honourable Leader, just address the few ones that have been put up,
Mr. Speaker.
So that we Honourable members, please.
I
Yes,
think the issue that Honourable Kofi Adams raised is a welfare matter. I think you can take it up at the caucus level or committee of the whole. Mr. Speaker, I think there's nothing more to say except to crave your indulgence to get the business committee report adopted. Thank you.
Honourable members, we've come to a close of the business statement. We thank honourable members for your contributions. We're about to suspend the House for a closed session with Administrator of that fund, but the minority leader has pleaded with me to make a commemorative statement. So please, we are making just one statement. We'll break into a closed session, then we come back to continue with other statements. So, minority leader, please, the floor is yours.
Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Speaker, you know, I won't litigate this matter. But I know that the minority leader doesn't like surprises. But I won't litigate. He said he consulted my boss. And I've seen my boss name, so I would not litigate. Mr. Speaker, I think you can proceed.
Yes, minority leader.
Mr. Speaker, if I may indulge you, it's a statement tribute to eulogize Dr. Sule Garba, who passed on 27th of April 2021. Speaker, so with your indulgence, I want to thank you for the opportunity to pay tribute to Dr. Sule Garba on his passing to eternity. He passed 27th of April 2021, and it's with profound sadness that I pay tribute to our dear colleague, friend, and brother. Mr. Speaker, he died at age 62. He has since been buried in accordance with custom. I don't even intend to read the full text of the statement for want of time, but for Hansard to capture it. Mr. Speaker, Dr. Sule Garba was born May 4, 1958 in Tamale. He was a leading member of the People's National Convention, the PNC. He served as senior presidential advisor to the President of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, from 2009 to 2017. He was a diplomat, esteemed lecturer, and board member with several international non-profit organizations and foundations. Mr. Speaker, he had his elementary education in Tamale at Ghana Secondary School, and later in Wa Secondary School, the constituency of the Honorable Rashid Pepo. He holds a PhD in political science and international development from Carleton University, Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, which he obtained in 1989. Mr. Speaker, Dr. Sule Garba's commitments to Ghana was deep, and he was passionate about the development of northern Ghana. This position led him to actively recruit and mentor many young northern Ghanaians from across all parties to embark on successful political careers. Mr. Speaker, it's not surprising that he served virtually in every political administration under the Fourth Republic. He served President J. Kufuor, President John Evans Atta-Mills, and more importantly, President John Dramani Mahama. It was his love for the country and for the good of his country. He also believed in affirmative action, recognizing the underdevelopment of the North and committed to the development. Therefore, he supported holistic development of our country. At the international level, Mr. Speaker, Dr. Garba was a senior policy advisor on institutional development for peace building for the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, in Abuja from 2005 to 2006. He was a leader in the International Evaluation Movement, having been founding president of the International Development Evaluation Association, IDEAS, from 2002 to 2005, and president of the Africa Evaluation Association from 2007 to 2009. Because of his experience with the Speaker and his wealth of knowledge, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama appointed him senior policy advisor. He was the brain behind the creation of the policy delivery unit at the presidency. His team prepared Excellency John Dramani Mahama's first policy statement when he assumes the reins of government at the Accra International Conference Center in. The policy statement outlined outstanding programs and policies towards the twilight of the NDC government in 2012 with timelines. Mr. Speaker, I still recall as a young cabinet minister, he walked to you when the president directed that every minister must come with a timetable, costed program, how you are going to contribute to job creation. Dr. Sule Garba will walk to every minister to ask you to provide a detailed program and justify what is it that you are going to do to contribute to addressing unemployment in our country. Mr. Speaker, Sule's politeness, his sobriety and calmness, and humility was legendary. He would speak to every person with a beaming smile, and therefore I want profound sympathies and condolences to Letolu Muraya Garba, the wife. No, that's the, sorry. He leaves his wife and life partner, Neo Tamai Garba. So to her, we say, accept the lost, fortitude to accept it, and trust that he is resting in the bosom of his Lord. He left behind some children, Lemos Legar, Jima, Aisha, and Murayo. May the soul of Dr. Sule Garba rest in perfect peace. Mr. Speaker, in concluding, they say, good people die every day, but only a few affirm for us the goodness in humanity and leadership the way Sule Garba did. He lived a life that was rich and accomplished, full and fulfilling. We shall greatly miss him. On a personal note, he was an enormous source of support and resource and advice to me personally. We cherish his memory and legacy. May his soul rest in perfect peace. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I will invite only two contributors. Two contributors. And that will include leadership. Yes. Honorable Member for Wa Central.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this statement ably presented by the Minority Leader, Honorable Haruna Idrisu. The speech could not have been presented by a better personality than this. I have known Dr. Sule Garba since my secondary school days. We were in the same secondary school, and he was a senior. The year he left was the year I entered, but his name rang the bells because he passed through the secondary school and was marked as one of the best students and well-respected students who showed leadership and class at the time of his stay in the secondary school. Mr. Speaker, as I started working with the National Youth Organizing Commission as the Director of Finance Administration in 1999, Dr. Sule Garba met with me and encouraged me to think about working outside government circles. And 3 years later, indeed, he managed to convince me. I had registered my own consultancy, and he encouraged me to move out of government circles and join him. And I did that in 2002 and worked with him in his consultancy with my smaller consulting group. The Speaker, we worked together in Tamale, and I got to know the kind of personality this man was. Very sharp person, very forthright person, an individual who would understand all complexes in solving social problems and even political problems. And Mr. Speaker, this was a great asset. This man was a great asset to Ghana and indeed Africa. Most of his consultancies were not just within Ghana, but outside Ghana as well. And in each of them, he would show that he was a master decision maker and a master understanding of issues. And Mr. Speaker, I had to work with him in Tamale, in Bolga, in Wa, travel all over. And at each point in time when an issue was brought forward, as we all sat down to understand what the issues were, he would come out with something that nobody had thought of before. And that was going to be the solution to the problem. And it showed him as a person of exceptional quality. His death was a pain to all of us. As we attended his funeral and watched the number of people who came there, those who bore witness as his friends and his working colleagues, it was understood that he was a man of many, many sides. And like Honorable Haruna has expressed, I want to also express my deep condolences to his family, his children, his wife, Neo, and all the people who were so deeply in touch with him. Mr. Speaker, it is a great loss. As a person who worked for the MPP and NDC, who worked for Ghana, who worked for communities, from him I understood community animation and understood how to work with local authorities. He is a man we have lost, and we will grieve his loss and pray to Allah that this man will be forgiven his sins, if he had any, and that one day we will all meet and celebrate the heavens together. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Haruna, for such a great initiative and such a great statement. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, let me give the opportunity to the lady.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I can hear my colleague and senior Honorable Muntala lamenting that it is his constituency. He forgets that it is my constituency as well.
Honorable Member, are you advertising for Muntala to also have the floor?
I am threatening him in the next election. He should get ready. I'm coming back to Tamale Central. Anyway, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for giving me the opportunity. I want to thank my Honorable Haruna Idrisu for the very apt statement that he's presented to this House, eulogizing my boss, my mentor, and my brother. Mr. Speaker, my first contact with Dr. Sule Garba was in 1998 when I had finished university. I enrolled on a program Institute of Economic Affairs in collaboration with the Trent University of Canada to undertake a postgraduate in development studies. Dr. Sule Garba tended to be one of the main pushers of this program for young Ghanaians who had completed university. He taught us a course in group dynamics and tools. Mr. Speaker, after the program, Dr. Sule Garba gave me my first job as a young graduate. He recruited me into his firm, which was then Garba and Associates, now called General African Services. I headed the communication, gender, and advocacy desk in this organization. Mr. Speaker, fresh from university, I hadn't done community work before. Dr. Garba felt confident to send us out on assignments. And every time we came back and complained, he told us that that's the only way to learn. He sends you to a steering committee meeting, and there are CEOs, board directors, and you are at a loss from or where to end. And he said, when you come back, don't tell me what you did well, tell me what the challenges were. And through that, Dr. Garba trained us to become astute development professionals. Today, and I say it all the time, Mr. Speaker, that I owe everything to Dr. Garba and the 3 years I spent under his tutelage. He was a great mentor, and he taught us one principle of life. He said, always look for the good, and appreciative inquiry was his guiding words. Wherever you go into the community, don't go there assuming that the community is vulnerable. There is something good in the community. Look for what is good. When you find that, you build on it. And Mr. Speaker, that was the approach we took as we worked with Dr. Sule Garba in development work in the 3 northern regions of Ghana. Just before his demise, I went to him after I had won my primaries. He was in Tamale, and he called a dinner. We had Dr. Mohammed there, Dr. Montia of Bank of Ghana formerly, Dr. Audu Tinoga, and I think Philip Ayensu of PDSP. We had dinner together, and he assured me of his support. Indeed, he reminded me of a lot of the community engagement protocols that we had imbibed as young people working under him. Mr. Speaker, on 4th April, I was in Tamale. I went by his hotel, Garba Lodge, and I asked the receptionist, is Dr. Garba in? He said, no, he's traveled. I didn't know that he was very sick. It was his passing. May his soul rest in perfect peace. May Allah grant Dr. Sule Garba Jinnatul Firdaus. May Allah favor Dr. Sule Garba's family with all the goodness and kindness that he showed to all of us young people who passed through his hands. And his name. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank my leader, the maker of the statement. And I want to thank all who have contributed in eulogizing the life of this great son of Northern Ghana. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker.
Before I come to the leader of the House, I believe I don't allow Mutala to speak. There are a lot of people interceding for him. So, Mutala, I'm giving you 2 minutes. Be snappy. You claim the man hails from your constituency. So, be snappy, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I can't thank you more. I think I have to get you a white cooler after this session. And that is a recognition of appreciation. I want to first and foremost thank our leader and the maker of this statement. And everything he said about Dr. Sule Garba is the absolute truth. Every single young politician in this contemporary would have to look at Dr. Sule Garba as a symbol for emulation. As a young undergraduate student in the University of Ghana, Dr. Sule Garba, whose name I was acquainted with as a young boy growing up in Tamale, I got in contact with him when I was in level 100. That was the year 1999-2000 academic year. And he used to be invited to come and address the northern students of University of Ghana. It is interesting to state that Dr. Sule Garba is a pure Yoruba person. The grandparents came from Nigeria, settled in northern Ghana. Just like Mr. Gbadamoshi, who ended up became the Director General of the Ghana Education Service. Dr. Sule Garba spoke an impeccable Dagbani than some of us, and he was so concerned about issues of the North. To that extent, anytime we extended invitation to him to come and address us, He never missed that opportunity. And I remember those times. His always advice to us was to take our steps. Little did I know that several years after that, I would have the opportunity to work with him in the same government. When I had the privileged opportunity to be appointed as the Deputy Minister for Information. And Honorable Speaker, you remember we used to have the daily briefing. To a very large extent, his input was what culminated to the daily briefings we had at the Flagstaff House. Because every single morning, we would have meetings to deliberate on the issues we were going to talk about. So he tutelaged most of us. And even after he left government, I had the opportunity to have met him on several occasions. So to lose such a man is a great loss to the entire country, but most importantly, it's a great loss to young people who have decided to charter the path of politics from Northern Ghana. Whether you belong to the political party he belongs to or not, you would have to see him as a symbol for emulation. Right, Honorable Speaker, there is no denying the fact that he spoke an impeccable English language. And what was profound was not his ability to communicate in the Queen's language, but his ability to give a profound intellectual analysis on every single issue, from socioeconomic issues to political issues. This Garba. So I just want to join the leader and my sister to extend our profound and sincerest condolences to his wife, his family, and remind all of us, as stated in Quran chapter 3, verse 1, that kullu nafsin za'iqatul maut, that every soul shall taste death, and that our true compensation would be recognized on the day of resurrection. It is my prayer, and I believe the collective prayer of all people, well-meaning Ghanaians, and most importantly, this House, including yourself, Mr. Speaker, that our brother would be in the hands, the merciful hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we want to use the opportunity also to urge all of us to be reminded that there is a day we will live no more. And as we leave this world, we should be conscious of that every single day. And I believe that this was the position of the. We wish him well, and we pray that Allah will forgive him of all his sins he might have committed, and indeed show mercy to him, and he receives the full hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Let me now come to the leader of the House.
Speaker, also rise to lend my voice the tribute paid by the minority leader to the memory of Dr. Sule Garba, who passed on the 27th of April 2021. The Speaker, a lot has been said about Dr. Sule Garba as a diplomat and lecturer, and indeed one who was very much passionate about the development agenda of the northern region, and in that regard recruited a lot of people to join ranks in order to formulate programs which would translate into projects to develop the northern parts of Ghana, which he, like many of us, perceive and indeed consider as lagging behind in development. The Speaker, he wanted to serve as a bridge to bring up to speed the development agenda of the northern regions. Mr. Speaker, at the international level, at the instance of Dr. Ibn, between 2004 and 2007, when Dr. Chambers was at the ECOWAS Commission, he got Dr. Sule Garba involved in the evolution and development of relevant policies to propel the agenda of ECOWAS. And Dr. Chambers made him a senior policy advisor at the institutional level of ECOWAS. Mr. Speaker, if there is any outstanding contribution that Dr. Sule Garba made in national development, I would want to relate to what he brought to bear on the work of the National Development Planning Commission. Speaker, in filling in for President John Dramani Mahama, the social development programs, the coordinated programs, the Speaker, he said that many times we list programs and policies. We do not provide roadmaps and timelines for the delivery. For the first time, at the instance of Dr. Sule Garba, we had this. And I think that that is his greatest contribution, because we have a litany of policies and programs submitted by all presidents in fulfillment of the relevant provisions contained in the directive principles of state policy. Submit them to Parliament. We benchmark budgets against the policies, the coordinated policies and programs of government, the serving administration. There are no roadmaps. There are no timelines for the delivery. The programs that are listed and submitted to Parliament. And he insisted that the President, in submitting the programs to Parliament, should provide clear roadmap and indeed timeline for the delivery of those. And I thought that was most outstanding, the Speaker. So that is what I remember him for above everything else. And I want to commend him so highly, and also recommend that following after that, the coordinated programs should come to Parliament with roadmaps and timelines. The Speaker, having said so, I once again want to associate with colleagues who have spoken highly of him and to pray to God to give him a peaceful rest. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Thank you, honorable members. Honorable members, there are other statements, but we hold on to that and go. Honorable members, honorable members, may we rise and give a minute silence to our departed brother. May his gentle soul rest in peace. Amen. Yes, honorable leader. Yes, honorable leader.
Speaker, I just wanted to propose that we move into a committee of the whole to deal with the proposals in respect of the formula for the disbursement of the GET fund. So if you will indulge us, we can do so now.
Yes, honorable members, the House will now sit in the committee of the whole. So, honorable members, in the interim, sitting is hereby suspended.
The Speaker, my understanding is that they finished the work on them. So I believe we can lay the reports, and next week, if we can't consider them tomorrow, next week when we can come and consider them. So we can do the presentation on behalf of the committee. But if you indulge me, I will want to present those reports.
Very well. So, item number 8, page 2, presentation of papers by the chairman.
On behalf of the chairman, speaking.
On behalf of the chairman.
Report of the Finance Committee on the request for waiver of import duty, import get fund levy, import NHIL, import VAT, ESM levy, and special import levy amounting to the Ghana cedi equivalent of 527,685 United States dollars and 79 cents on materials and vehicles to be procured under the support agreement of the Republic of Ghana. Cascade Development Company Limited and the Gold Coast Resort International Limited to redevelop the Accra Racecourse to include a 5-star hotel, shopping mall, office and residential buildings.
Yes, honorable members, the report has been duly presented. It is for distribution to honorable members. Yes.
Speaker, I, IV, and V are all in respect of the 1G, 1F programs. So if I may put everything together and present them. Speaker, once I finish with it, I guess I'll signal it to the ranking member that we'll have to have some conversation on this going forward. So I want to do the presentation in respect of 2 to Roman numbers 2 to 5.
Very well. Table. Yes, table 2.
Report of the Finance Committee on the request for waiver of import duties, get fund levy, import NHIL, import VAT, and ESM levy amounting to the Ghana cedi equivalent of 14,718,479 United States dollars and 16 cents on materials, plants, machinery, and equipment or parts to be imported by B5 Plus Limited under the implementation of the One District, One Factory program.
Honorable members, the report has been duly presented. It is for distribution to honorable members. Table.
Report of the Finance Committee on the request for waiver of import duties, get fund levy, import NHIL, import VAT, and EXIM levy amounting to Ghana cedi equivalent of 8,983,790 United States dollars on materials, plant, machinery, and equipment, or parts to be imported by Ferro Fabric Limited under the implementation of the One District, One Factory program.
Honorable members, the report has been duly presented. It is for distribution to honorable members. Table IV.
Report of the Finance Committee on the request for waiver of import duties, import VAT, get fund levy, import NHIL, and EXIM levy amounting to Ghana cedi equivalent of 1,724,132 United States dollars and 52 cents on materials, plant, machinery, and equipment, or parts to be imported by Everpure Holdings Limited under the implementation of One District, One Factory program.
Honorable members, the report has been duly presented. It is for distribution to honorable members. Yes, table V.
Report of the Finance Committee on the request for waiver of import duties, import VAT, import NHIL, and EXIM levy amounting to Ghana cedi equivalent of 1,389,018 United States dollars and 90 cents on materials, plant, machinery, and equipment, or parts to be imported by Maro Forestry Ghana Limited under the implementation of One District, One Factory program.
Honorable members, the report has been presented and it is for distribution to honorable members. Yeah, respectfully, leader. Respectfully, honorable majority leader.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday we had the formula for national health insurance laid here. A few issues were raised, and my understanding is that the report has not been affected by those issues raised. I was indicating to my colleague, the Deputy Minority Leader, if they are satisfied with the proposals to amend the relevant provisions, then we can take it, because in that case there will not be any objection. So, subject to those issues that were raised, Speaker, we can approve or say. But let me hear from the Deputy Minority Leader.
Yes, Deputy Minority Leader. Yeah, item number 9.
I think that we should take the health insurance on Tuesday. I looked at the report yesterday. I did some few corrections, but I don't know the state it has reached now. So, and today being Friday in court, because we are not sitting tomorrow, there are other work that we need to do in leadership for members. So I propose that if the leader agrees, we adjourn and take the health insurance on Tuesday. We take the health insurance on Tuesday.
So we should take it on Tuesday. That's what you're saying. Anyway, leader.
Speaker, as I was saying, because the relevant issues were raised to affect the report, I thought we could as well, because we agree on the principle, approve of it, subject to those amendments. However, I must confess that speaking, I don't have the final report before me. And so, in that regard, I guess we could go along with the proposal from the Deputy Minority Leader to take it on Tuesday next week. We can take it on Tuesday next week. Plus, the get funds. Mr. Speaker, it's important that we're able to do this before the beginning of the second half of the year. So hopefully we can also do the approval of the common funds formula before 1st July. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
So on that note, Leader.
Speaker, subject to that, and because we did not start early enough, I may want to move that we take an adjournment until Tuesday next week at 10 o'clock in the forenoon. Speaker, I want to amend the time for reconvening from 10 in the forenoon to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So we meet at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion. 2 o'clock will be first. Even my committee will be sitting from 9. So that is good for us.
The Speaker, attention has been drawn to the fact that the Business Committee's report proposed that we meet at 10 in the morning. The Speaker, so it will mean that, in essence, this decision, this final decision, supersedes with respect to the Tuesday sitting.
Honorable members, since the time is beyond 2, I will move to adjourn the House till Tuesday, the 29th June 2021 at 2 p.m. At 2 p.m. I thank you, all of you, for your attention.